Let me ask you something. If you had to describe your brand, would it sound like you or just another copy paste of what you think people want to see? The absolute biggest sales hack in your content is not a trending audio. It's not a Canva template. It's not a perfectly curated pastel aesthetic. It's your story. The one you've been too scared to tell because you don't think it's good enough. And I'm here to tell you today, it absolutely is. In this episode, we're going to show you exactly why your story is your secret weapon and how to finally use it to connect, convert, and get your audience to trust you. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels, hustling for likes, and getting absolutely fucking nowhere, this one is for you. Let's get into it.
Hey, y'all, Alyece Smith here, and welcome to the Socially Awesome Podcast, where we empower mompreneurs to implement simple social media strategies into their businesses and elevate their online presence. I'm a mompreneur of 3, an affiliate marketer, a network marketer, an influencer, a social media marketing agency owner, and your personal guru. I am here to give you tips, tricks, and tools that you need to build your social media business. Let's dive in.
Hey, welcome back to the Socially Awesome Podcast. Alyece Smith here. I'm your host, and today I'm bringing some fire. So I really hope that you're ready for this because it's a really juicy one. Okay, why your story is the secret sales hack in your content. And you might be sitting there thinking like, okay, my story is pretty boring, right? I'm not that interesting. I live a regular old life. And I thought the same thing too, but you are absolutely fucking wrong. Okay, you're so wrong. Your story is exactly what will get your dream clients to stop scrolling and start listening to you. And most importantly, start buying from you. So grab your coffee, grab your wine, whatever is fueling your hustle today. And we're going to dive right into this because here's the thing. Most entrepreneurs think that the reason their business is stuck is because of aesthetics. And we talk a lot about this, about editing your content to, help it perform better, get better visibility, if you will. And when entrepreneurs first get started, they often think that their brand is colors and fonts and Canva graphics. And I'll tell you, your dream client does not give a shit about your perfectly coordinated pastel feed. So if you're out there thinking your business is stuck because you don't have the prettiest Canva graphics or you don't have branding photos, you're absolutely wrong. It is stuck because you're pretending to be someone online who you're not in real life. And that's fact, right? Because your content might look cute, perfect colors, aesthetic fonts, all the soft vibes or modern vibes or whatever you're going for. But cute is not paying the bills, right? Meanwhile, your audience is scrolling right past you because they've already seen 10 other people do the exact same thing. They don't need another knockoff vibe. They're looking for something real, not just another aspirational photo with a caption that's like straight out of Pinterest or even worse, written straight by ChatGPT. Like it's so obvious. Cute might get likes, but it sure as hell isn't going to get them to click buy. You're spending so many hours scrolling her profile, looking at her posts and trying to replicate her vibe. You're tweaking your captions to sound like hers, editing your photos with the same filters. You're even probably saying phrases that you would never say in your real life. And it's like you're playing dress up in someone else's life, hoping no one notices. But deep down, you know it's not you and you are embarrassed to admit it. But you've lost touch with what makes you different, what makes you special. And the worst part is you're exhausted trying to keep up with all that shit and it's not even working. So when we look at this, we've got to really think about your ideal client is not sitting there scrolling their feed, okay, and pulling out their credit card because, wow, her aesthetic is on point, right? Let me hand over my money. What they care about is connection. They care about you. And if you're too busy pretending to be someone else, someone that you're not, they don't know you. And we talked about this last week in our previous episode, but in order to know you, they have to like you. In order to like you, they have to trust you. And they're not going to trust you if they don't know you. So I made this mistake when I first got started. And all of my content comes from previous mistakes or what I've learned or all those things that I can share with you. But when I first started out, I spent so much time scrolling other people's profiles, saving their posts, trying to copy their vibe, tweaking my captions to sound like them, editing my photos to match their aesthetic. I even caught myself saying shit I wouldn't say. And deep down, I knew it wasn't me. I felt like a fraud in my content. And even worse, my audience obviously could tell it too because they weren't engaging and they weren't buying. So there was a real game changer when I stopped hiding behind the aesthetics of my business. And as we look at this, your dream clients don't give a damn about how perfectly coordinated your Instagram grid is or that trendy font that you use on every post. They're not scrolling looking for that. Your dream clients want to see the person who gets them what they're looking for, who solves their pain, who gets what they're going through, who has something valuable to offer them. Stop slapping a random Canva template on your post and thinking, yep, I'm well branded. Your brand is not just colors and font. Your audience doesn't give a shit if you use Canva presets or not. If there's no you in your content, they're not even paying attention. So instead of spending hours scrolling Canva trying to find that one, or even worse, scrolling Instagram or TikTok trying to figure out what viral reel you can copy, start fucking figuring out who you are, what you stand for, how you want people to feel when they come across your stuff. Because your brand starts with you. The templates and the sprinkles that you use, those are accessories. Those aren't the whole fucking outfit. So here's the truth you probably don't want to admit to yourself, but you're spending all of this time tweaking your grid because it feels safer than showing up as the real you. You're hiding behind aesthetics because putting yourself out there feels scary. What if you don't get any likes? What if people don't like you? What if you mess up? What if your story isn't good enough? So instead, you focus on the visuals. And you think if it looks good enough, maybe, just maybe, I won't have to get too personal. Your dream clients that are ready to hand over their money are looking for someone who gets it, someone who feels real. And the real you, she is more than enough. You have to stop hiding behind the visuals and looking for magic fucking hacks that don't exist long enough to let people actually connect with you. When you stop bending over backwards to be someone that you're not, that's when everything changes. The second you start showing up as you, the people who actually vibe with your energy will take notice. And the moment you start being yourself online, like the same person you are in real life, the people who've been waiting for someone like you will show the fuck up. And they'll stick around. Because here's the truth. When I stopped hiding behind aesthetics and started showing up and building my brand from what I was saying versus what it just looked like, started showing up as myself, that's when everything shifted. And this is uncomfortable because I actually have shared quite a bit over the last couple of weeks about how I toned my messaging down in 2024 because I was told I was triggering people. I was too assertive, too bold, maybe even a little bit bitchy. But that messed up. I messed up doing that. And I'm not afraid to admit when I messed up. And I'm sharing this today so you don't make those same mistakes because your story is the one thing that people will connect with that is different from everyone else. The story that you think isn't interesting enough, it's the exact thing that make people want to work with you. And I'm going to break this down in 3 different pieces. 1, it builds trust. Your audience wants to see someone who fucking gets them, right? They're sick of seeing surface level shit, people they don't believe in, people they don't understand. They're sick of seeing shit that makes them feel like it's a scam because it's just so fluffy. Someone who's been where they are and come out on the other side is who they're looking for. Number 2, it creates connection. People buy from people. They want to know you. not your perfectly curated feed, okay? They don't care about your polished copy. They want you. And number three, it differentiates you. Your story is your secret sauce. No one else can replicate it. So lean into it. There is not one other person on the planet that has the exact same story as you, that tells it the exact same way. It is the secret sales hack because it will attract the people who are looking for you too. Now, you're probably wondering, like, how do I actually use my story and my content? You know, if you've been here for a minute, that I like action steps. And so I'm going to share some of those with you today. And if you haven't been here before, hello, welcome. Make sure you subscribe so that you can hear in every week because I love to give action steps. But there's a lot of different ways to share your story and your content. And I want you to think of it like this. Think about something maybe a decade ago that someone told you, right? Now, occasionally you're going to get like a really bold one-liner and you tend to remember that. But stories sell, not just because they're stories, but they create emotion, right? People can see themselves in your story, but also because they're remembered. People are more likely to remember a story than if you're just spitting facts at them. So there's a lot of different ways to infuse your story and your content that are going to not only attract your ideal client, but obviously make sales because people are going to be interested in your content. They're going to listen. So first and foremost, share your struggles. And it's kind of funny. We actually talked about this today on my membership call. If you're not in the Socially Awesome membership, where the fuck are you? But we talked about this because I had a student on there that had a reel go crazy viral. Okay. And I asked her, why do you think it went viral? And she said, because I shared a mistake. And so we look at this and I'm like, okay, so why aren't you sharing more mistakes? Right. And talking it out with her, I said to her, I was like, we often feel that if we share our mistakes, we're hurting our authority. People aren't going to think we're an expert if we've made mistakes. But how the fuck did we become an expert if we did not make mistakes? Right. So it really is that you will build trust faster and you will build more authority when you get over sharing your failures. When you get over the fear of sharing your failures, that's when you will start to see results. And so looking at this, number one way to share your story is share your struggles. Not only struggles of like, this is where I was previously before I started doing XYZ, but also mistakes you've made on your journey doing what you do now. So I recently shared a carousel on Instagram that was like, 5 red flags to watch out for when getting clients, and obviously that was all from experience. And I shared that, like, these are 5 people I worked with, I'll never work with again. And here's why. The second way to really infuse your story and your content to make more sales is highlight your transformation. And this is where so many people go wrong. They get so bogged down in the details. You're so excited about your business. You're so fucking giddy that you finally created this course or created this guide or whatever you've done. That's all you talk about. You don't talk about where you were before. So when you're creating content, think about what you wish someone would have told you when you first got started. Think about almost like a before and after transformation, like a weight loss transformation, right? So here's what I wish I would have known before I got started. Here's how I went from this to this. Here's how I went from 257 pounds to 157 pounds. Here's how I went from checking my bank account every single time I went to buy groceries to checking my bank account once a month. Here's how I blah, 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 right? And also look at what did you do differently? That's one of the most important things. That's that inside your head content. That's that behind the scenes type content. What did you do differently that made you have that transformation? That's where we show that misbelief and those mistakes that they're making by showing them that we're making those same mistakes. So going from When I first got started, I thought, and I shared this at the beginning of the episode, I thought I needed all these perfectly polished aesthetics. When I realized it was more about what I was saying and not what it actually looked like online, I saw more results, right? I showed you what I did differently. And then how can your audience do the same thing? How can they get that transformation? That's why people spend money. Transformation. If they think it's going to solve their problem and you're very bold and direct with it, they will buy in no time. It doesn't take 7, 10, 25 interactions. And then the third thing, make it about them. So this is the hardest thing for most people when sharing their story. They really struggle with, how does my story actually matter to my audience? And so there's a nuance here when you are connecting your story and your content, but also making it about your audience. And so don't stress too much about, is it working? Is it not working? Focus more on connecting that story back to their pain points. So when you're sharing your story in your content, we want to tell where you were, where you came from, right? Your transformation, highlight all of that, but it needs to connect back to their pain points. So don't just talk about your wins without talking about how those wins help them. Don't just talk about what you had for lunch, right? We're talking about, how does your story matter to them? Will they see themselves in your story? And right now, you're second guessing. You're thinking your story is boring. It's not worth sharing. I legit shared an Instagram carousel the other day talking about how ADHD is the superpower of my fucking business. And you would think, or I thought, I actually, when I shared this with my coach, was like, is this worthy of sharing? And she was like, hell to the yes. Like, that's so relatable. But for me, I was like, nobody cares about that, right? At first, until someone else kind of validated my idea. But the amount of people that they won't comment because they don't want to admit it, but will connect with me in the DMs and say, yes, I so related to this, was powerful. Powerful. Your story is your secret weapon. Why does my ADHD matter? Well, first and foremost, it was busting the myth that I hear all the time in my programs and things like that, where people are like, just so scattered, I can't focus. And they kind of joke about ADHD, right? They're like, my ADHD. And that pisses me off because it's a real thing. But it also, to that woman who either has ADHD or it gets distracted easily, or just even her environment is distracting. She's like, okay, if she can overcome this, I can overcome this. It's brand building content. So if you take one thing away from this episode, let it be this. Stop trying to blend in and start showing up as you, okay? Your dream clients do not need another perfect Pinterest influencer. They need someone who understands them, someone who can show them the way. And that's exactly why I created my Socially Awesome membership, because so many people struggle with sharing their brand and building their brand, because it's not about templates. It's not about trends. It's about helping you create content that connects, that converts, that feels like you. And the truth, I mean, it really comes down to, you have two choices. You can keep blending in like fucking wallpaper, or finally step up, own your voice, and actually stand out. And if you choose to play it safe and blend in, don't be surprised when your engagement stays in the gutter. You cannot expect people to connect with you when you're trying so hard to blend in. They don't even notice you. So you either have to be real or be forgotten. It really is that clear. So with that being said, I know today's episode's a little shorter, which is probably, some of you are probably like, thank God, because she's been talking forever. But thank you for hanging out with me today. If you love this episode, make sure you screenshot it, share it on your Instagram stories, tag me, socially.awesome. And look, don't forget, drop a review on your favorite episode, right? Wherever you're listening to this, make sure you drop a review. Let me know, that this helps you. It's my absolute love language. It's the best compliment you can give, but it also lets me know what topics you like so that we can continue to dive deeper and deeper into them. And if you're not already in my free community, Socially Awesome Entrepreneurs, definitely jump into that as well. I'll have that link for you in the show notes. But I do daily tips, tricks, and trainings in there to help you grow your business online. So your brand is the secret that is going to help you start making sales. It's about creating content that connects, converts, and feels like you. And I can tell you this, even more than just making sales, you're going to love your business again because it feels good. Right now, being someone else in your content does not feel good. And there you have it. Your biggest takeaway today is your story is enough. In fact, it's more than enough. It is the key to turning casual scrollers into actual paying clients. So stop hiding behind filters and fonts and other people's trends and viral hacks. Show up, share your story, watch how everything changes. And if you're ready to turn your content into a sales machine that feels 100% authentic, join the Socially Awesome membership. Your story deserves to be told, and I'm here to help you tell it in a way that sells. You'll find the link to join in the show notes. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. And until next time, make it simple, make it social, and make it awesome.